When the roll is called out, I'll be standing taller to face the darkest and the hardest of times. We'll be taking care of all the children thereof, but if it's required, we'll be on the front line. You can call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never cop out. Lioness is on the rise, don't you ever have doubt. Never say never, willingness forever to fight and be strong. Want it for better, I'll write every letter and moving right along. And I'll roll with the punches, accept changes, work with the formula, do what I have to do. And call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never clock out. Lioness is on the rise, don't you ever have doubt. When you are willing to serve, we have room to observe, to see if you can walk the walk you told. Let me give you my word, my voice must be heard. Bravery is a piece of my heart. Call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never cop out. A lioness is on the rise, don't ever have no doubt. When the roll is called up, we'll be standing taller to face the darkest and the hardest of times. We'll be taking care of all the children thereof, but if it's required, we'll be on the front line. You can call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Story's been told. Call me anytime, never cop out. A lioness is on the rise, ready to roll. Call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never cop out. I'm ready when you're ready.
I am ready to roll, but apparently my system is not quite ready for me yet. So I am going to take Queen Ifrika back from the top, and we're going to try this one more time. You know, when you hear the lioness on the rise, you know it's time for UnSung. So in the meantime, here we go.
Are you ready? 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 When the roll is called out, I'll be standing taller to face the darkest and the hardest of times. We'll be taking care of all the children thereof, but if it's required, we'll be on the front line. You can call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never call with the formula, do what I have to do, and call me by my name. I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never clock out. Lioness is on the rise, don't you ever have doubt. When you are willing to serve, we have room to observe, to see if you can walk the walk you tell. Let me give you my word, my voice must be heard. Bravery is a beat of my heart. Call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never cop out. A lioness is on the rise. Don't ever have no doubt. When the roll is called up, we'll be standing taller to face the darkest and the hardest of time. We'll be taking care of all the children thereof. But if it's required, we'll be on the front line. You can call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Oh, never, anytime, lioness is on the run. Oh, yeah, call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never cop out. A lioness is on the run, ready to roll. Call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never cop out. I'm ready when you're ready.
Alrighty then, the lioness is on the rise, and I am definitely ready to roll. You're in tune to Eto on Air. The program is UnSung, and I'm your host this evening. My name is Anmour, and I have some fun stuff lined up for you. I have two very interesting guests, one musical, one behind the scenes, and we're going to do some things today. Today we are down to the final Thursday in March, and Eto on Air is celebrating Women in Reggae, even as the world is celebrating International Women's Month. So, we're going to get it started. My first guest will be here she's here, but she'll be sitting in the hot seat in another 20 minutes or so. And not hot seat, because we're going to have fun, because my guests are usually fun. So, anyways, we're going to keep it going in that since March began, I told you that I was only going to be playing the music of females, and I managed to keep that going. I was tempted to play the guys, but you know what? No bullying in this pen right about now. So, I am going to go with the sounds of Miss Marcia Griffiths. And she sang, I Will Sing.
I shall sing as long as I live, and as long as I live, I shall sing, and I shall sing as long as I live, and as long as I live, I shall sing. Even though I'm old, but I'm young, a little weak, but I know I am strong, old enough to know what's right, young enough to dance all night, too weak to hold it back, strong enough to give your heart attack. The situation sweet my soul, as long as I live, I shall sing, as long as I live, and as long as I live, I shall sing, and shall sing as long as I live, and as long as I live, I shall sing. In my days I've seen many faces, and been many places. Too late to turn back now. If I do, Jah will strike me down. Yes, I have places to go. Yes, and a lot of things to do. If you think I'd give it up now, as long as I live, I shall sing. As long as I live, and as long as I live, I shall sing. And I shall sing. As long as I live, and as long as I live, I shall sing. I thank God that He made me to sing to the world all over. Love message I'll bring. He put a song in my heart, yes I know. Come along, people, good seeds will sow. I don't care what they do or say. I'll never stop singing. Oh no, no way. Someday I will get my pay. As long as I live, I shall sing. As long as I live, and as long as I live, I shall sing. I shall sing. As long as I live, and as long as I live, I shall sing. I shall sing. As long as I live, and as long as I live.
the sounds of the incomparable Miss Marcia Griffiths. Now, where do we go from here? I've been playing some artists more than others, and we're going to spread it out this week. So this week, until my guest comes, my musical guest comes on, I'm going to be all over the place for a little bit. So I'm going to go with some artists whom I haven't played, some female artists whom I haven't played their music at all this month. So I'm going to start the trend, get a present. So we're going to go here with our own Sister D. Big up, big up, big up to Rockers Corner. Detroit D. Maximum respect, my sister. Okay, we're going to have to pause because I haven't played my anthems yet. and I'm getting into old school, new school, and all kind of school. But guess what? You know, I've got to go here. I'm not blazing up anybody. I'm just telling you how I feel, and even more so today, when I actually made it in. I had to press my way to get in here, and I'm in here. So, despite what people have to say, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to listen to anybody. So, therefore, I will come in here again this week, and I'll play my anthem, and not really care what anybody has to say. The sound of Eternal. People will always talk.
People talk, that's what they do. But they don't understand. Home is still a push and go through. Yes, they laugh, they call me names, but they just don't get it. How them see me, I hold my head up just the same. When them see me, them just keep on talking. Me not see them, I just keep on walking. I got my pride. Me nah go show my bad side. Some of them see me as a big pushover. Left me for dead and think I'm gonna kill over. Oh no, not I. I and I will survive. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them take away your liberty. Live your life and be free. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them lead you astray. Starting today, live your life and live it your way. When you go through heartache, when you feel in pain, when you end up in a desert, and I wonder why the hell it not rain. When them pass them judgments, on every word left a stain. When them talk up the things them just will mash up your life and give you bad name. Them think you're weak, but I never them blunder. Bad mind and think them left your business as
And you know that this one is going to be taken back from the top. You know, you need to come to expect certain things from me. So here we go.
people talk. That's what they do.
Simple.
They don't understand. Home is still a push and go through. Yes, they laugh. They call me names, but they just don't get it. How them see me, I hold my head up just the same. When them see me, them just keep on talking. Me not see them, I just keep on walking. I got my pride. Me not go show my bad side. Some of them see me as a big pushover. Left me for dead and think I'm gonna kill over. Oh no, not I. I and I will survive. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them take away your liberty. Live your life and be free. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them lead you astray. Starting today, live your life and live it your way. When you go through heartache, when you feel in pain, when you end up in a desert, and I wonder why the hell it not rain. When them pass them judgments, on every word left a stain. When them talk up the things them just will mash up your life and give you bad name. Them think you're weak, but I never them blunder. Bad mind and think them left your business asunder. Don't give them that power. Show them you can be stronger. Just take up yourself and make the whole of them wonder how you get up when Live your life and be free. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them lead you astray. Starting today, live your life your way. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them take away your liberty. Live your life and be free. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them take away your liberty. Live your life and be free. Get you down. Oh, no, 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 no.
You know, y'all know Boss Man in the studio going on bad. But, okay. I'm standing firm. I'm getting stronger because guess what? I'm not afraid of nobody. Well, only God, but it is what it is.
I see them coming after my soul.
You know I gotta play my anthem.
To take control. Wanna give me lots, wanna give me bling, wanna give me all the material things. I hear them talking about what the world has to offer. Girl, what you doing? Don't you see what they have done to Bedouin and Marcus, Jesus and all of the prophets? But I'm not afraid, no. No, I'm not afraid. No, I'm not afraid, no. If them a come, let them come, cause I'm protected by the Most High One. They don't mind when you fall behind and can't pay your bills on time. Prostituting or standing in a them government line. No, and they don't mind when you waste your time coming up with some stupid lines, influencing the youths them for snort a line and take a life. And they don't mind when you're locked up in jail, can't get no bail, sentence for life. I can't see your youth them strive. No, they don't mind. But I'm not afraid, no. No, I'm not afraid. No, I'm not afraid, no. If them a come, let them come, cause I'm protected by the Most High One. Yeah. Don't be foolish, oh no. Hey, thinking they don't know your name. I see them coming after my soul, wanting to take control. Wanna give me lots, wanna
They're
give
coming
me
after
things,
my soul,
wanna give
wanting
me
to take
all the
control, but it ain't
material
happening.
things. I hear them talking about what the
The
world
sounds
has
of
to offer.
Etana.
Girl, what you doing? Don't you see what they have done to Bedouin and Marcus, Jesus and all
So,
the prophets? But
as we move out of the sounds of Etana, because we're going to cut and go through this week because we have enough things to go on, alright? I'm going to go back to my original thought where I told you I was going to be playing some tracks from females that I haven't played at all for this month. So, we're going to move on over to the sound of Lady G. And this is what she says. The veteran in the business. She says, "Now call my name, star. Now spread no rumor. Just show me enough respect."
We got live on stage just for you. It's got
Okay,
to be the
this is
sweet
a live
Lady
one.
G.
Now whether you live uptown or you live in the ghetto,
know
you know
this
say
rhythm.
Lady G respect the people them every time. See? So don't spread no rumor. No care me name, no spread no rumor, show me no respect. Not to me living at the ghetto, ghetto, show me enough respect. No care me name, no spread no rumor, show me enough respect. No true me living at the ghetto, show me enough respect. Because this is a fact, me have to confess to all of the woman man for due respect. Not to be dressed up in the latest that we look fanciness. When we come out on the street, the man them say we look fresh. And every jack man at them we impress. Sometimes them get bright and start this stress. But if it they across the sea, them a broke off the naked, then no see we feel weak, them start get upset. That's why enough man up put them head in a one basket. But some of them put them out where them can't reach it. As a foxy a grape him, what to pick it, whether you living at the town or in the district. No care me name, no spread no rumor, show me enough respect. No to me living at the ghetto, show me enough respect. No care me name, no spread no rumor, show me enough respect. No to me living at the ghetto, show me enough respect. Some man watch your figure, some man watch your shape, some man watch your necklace and your beautiful face. Call your gugs if you're ugly, that's a big disgrace. But if you're pretty fatty, man, I run one race. No man no want fit there, but they want fit there on front page. Every man want to tackle what I eat in the place. But most of them are gonna go want to get one taste. So no win a log of it till if you hold for your space. No care me name, no spread no rumor, show me enough respect. No to me living at the ghetto, show me enough respect. No care me name, no spread no rumor, show me enough respect. No to me living at the ghetto, show me enough respect. I want all of the woman them you fi penetrate. If your man a do wrong, that's enough you tolerate. Just live independent, get yourself up to date. Change your lifestyle and make your future's bright. Stop the running up and down and stop the acting well. Just like a lamb to a slaughter, you fi make and mild. Just care for your health and protect your child. No give no man pictures, then we want take a mile. Just listen me lyrics and tell me otherwise. No care me name, no spread no rumor, show me enough respect. No to me living at the ghetto, show me enough respect. No care me name, no spread no rumor, show me enough respect. No to me living at the ghetto, show me enough respect. Cause some man watch your figure, some man watch the shape, some man watch your niceness and your beautiful face. Call ya bugs if you're ugly, that's a big disgrace. But if you're pretty fatty, man a run one race. No man no want fit there, but them want fit there on front page. Every man want to tackle what I eat in the place. But most of them are hungry, want to get one taste. So no win a log of it till if you hold for your face. No care me name, no spend no rumor, show me enough respect. No to me living at the ghetto, show me enough respect. No care me name, no spread no rumor, show me enough respect. No to me living at the ghetto, show me enough respect.
This is a classic one.
Okay. We're not going there with the lady saw. However, I want to pause right here for a moment because I want to take this time out. I want to take this time to send condolences out to Sister Junie Ranks, our sister in the struggle, who just lost her husband. And from E2 On Air, from UnSung, we want to extend our deepest sympathy on your loss. And I'm going to play this track for you from another sister of yours. It's a track from Keisha Martin, and it's saying, I hope you dance. And just want you to know that we've got your back. We can't comfort you the way you need to be comforted right now, but just know that if you need us, we're here. So Junie Ranks, this one is just for you and your family.
I hope you never
existence. Living might mean taking chances, but they were taken. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some helping heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens above more than just a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out a day, time is a real and constant motion, always moving us along. Tell me who wants to look back on their youth and wonder where those years have gone. I hope you still feel small standing by the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out a day, I hope you still feel small when you're standing by the ocean. Whenever one door closes.
The sound of Miss Keisha Martin, and right about now, because of the circumstance, I'm going to make an exception to this rule. I've only been playing the tracks from women, but this is a track that I play for my family whenever they're going through any time of grief, and it's the sound of Mr. Gramps Morgan. It's the sound of Gramps Morgan doing Wash Away the Tears. So, Junie Ranks, this one's for you, my sister.
Smiling songs.
We shall be all right.
It shall be well.
Don't you cry, yeah. 'Cause Jah shall wash away all the tears from my eyes. In times when the storms and the tides are raging high, we know we shall win, yeah. We know we'll survive, yeah. Jah shall wash away all the tears. Ooh. In this time of destruction, we must hold on firm. We got to get along. Being over hurts all of the mountains.
This one's going out to Lady Junie Ranks and her family in their time of grief.
We say, Jah shall wash away all the tears from my eyes. In times when the storms and the tides
shall wash away all the tears from our eyes. Regardless of what storms we face, just rely on the Most High, and we can definitely say that everything is going to be all right. So Junie Ranks, hang in there, my sister, because it is indeed well. Jah shall wash away all of your tears.
True.
We're coming up to 10 minutes to the hour 5, and as you can see, my guest is in the hot chair. But before we go there, I'm going to play another track for you. And this one goes a little something like this. Let me see. Goes a little something like this.
I pray to the Lord my soul to keep. Help me to see another day. Guide my steps still, Lord, I pray. So help me, Lord, hear me when I call.
The sound of Nadine Queen.
Help me, Lord, please don't let me fall. Help me, Lord, guide me on my way. Help me, Lord, hear me when I pray. Say, if I should die before I awake, pray to the Lord my soul to take. If I should die in my sleep, I pray to the Lord my soul to keep. As I lay me down, I pray, help me to see another day. As I live to see another day, guide my steps still, Lord, I pray. So help me, Lord, hear me when I call. Help me, Lord, please don't let me fall. Help me, Lord, guide me on my way. Help me, Lord, hear me when I pray. Say, in my time of wants and needs, you're always there to set me free. Though I know not physically, but you're always there to comfort me. Whenever I feel my pain, I know you hear me scream your name. Whenever I scream your name, I find the strength to live again. So help me, Lord, hear me when I call. Help me, Lord, please don't let me fall. Help me, Lord, guide me on my way. Help me, Lord, hear me when I pray. Say, help me, Lord.
The sound of Miss Nadine Queen, who just happens to be sitting right next to me right about now. And I don't know what it is, but there seems to be something in the water over there in St. Thomas, because we have the Morgan family, Morgan heritage. We have Bushman. We have this guy named Braga. Now we have Nadine Queen. And you're in tune to the program UnSung. I'm Anmour, and my guest this evening, my musical guest, is the beautiful Miss Nadine Queen. And
Hey, world. Thanks for having me.
I can't see your face good.
You can't see my face good?
No.
Because the microphone.
We need a little bit more spotlight. We need.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, okay. we gonna fix that in a minute. However, you just heard the track, Help Me, Lord. And that is so fitting based on, where I was coming from a while ago with the tribute to Junie Ranks, on her loss. But welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. we're closing out the celebration of women in reggae here on E2 Air, closing out International Women's Month, and it's my pleasure to have you. It's not the hot seat you hear. Don't mind me.
And it's a pleasure being here again, only on a different, radio program. So,
So then, I'm gonna be all over the place because I'm all over the place today in all kinds of ways. But I'm gonna start off by asking you, when did you start singing? At what age did you start singing? And did you, like most other artists, begin in the church?
definitely. But I think I started singing in my mother's womb.
Oh, one of those.
Just being facetious anyway. But I started singing at a tender age when I was a little girl. But in maturity, I started singing at school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at school. And then after school, then it was Sunday school.
Okay.
So
when did you start singing professionally?
professionally is later on in life. I started doing dub plate for sound system,
Yeah.
hanging out at, a couple studios in Kingston. Then I met Cheval, and I used to be good friends. Cheval
Okay.
Franklin and I used to be good friends. So, and we used to sing at church, and But professionally, I started singing when I was, not a teenager, but a little bit after.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna be playing some of your music while we're having this in between our conversation, and the next track I'm gonna be playing is the one called "Someone Like You." Now, I'm just gonna play the track, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it afterwards.
Guess she gave you things I didn't give to you. Old friend, why you so shy? It ain't like you to hold back or hide from the light. I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I'd hope you see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over. Never mind. But I couldn't stay away, I couldn't fight it. I'd hope you see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over. Never mind, I'd find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I beg. I remember you said sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Never mind, I'd find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best regrets and mistakes were memories made. Who would have known how bittersweet this would taste? Na 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 na. Never mind, I'd find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I beg. I remembered you said sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Never mind, I'd find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I beg. I remembered you said sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Never mind, I'd find
The sound of Miss Nadine Queen, who happens to be my guest in the studio this evening. It's now the top of the hour at 5, and we're going to have a little conversation up in this piece. Now, Nadine, I mentioned earlier that you were from St. Thomas, and I was just reflecting on some of the stalwarts in the business who are from St. Thomas. What's going on in St. Thomas?
Well, honestly, I don't really know because I've left St. Thomas since I was young. So I couldn't tell you much. I know Bushman and we used to do a lot of dub plate for, sound system before everything start bust out. And I mean, that's where most people start doing stuff. You know, go DJ upon a sound system or you do a dub plate, just forget some money. So I've experienced all of that, which was a little bit, turbulent, but at least you weathered the storm and here I am.
Experience is a good teacher.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I don't know what it is, but I love to sing, but I can't sing, so it looked like I have to go down to St. Thomas and get some whatever is in that water and come
But
back.
honestly, I don't think it's where you're born. It's just it's an inborn thing. Singing, to be able to sing, you don't learn to sing. You have to be born a singer.
You heard it
It's
right
true.
here.
You have to be born with a natural talent, man.
So like how me can't sing, we just can't sing, we just
You can't practice.
no, can help me. Okay, all right. That's her way of putting me in my place and telling me, so just hold my corners and you stick to what's your forte and let me stick to my forte. All right. But okay, I'm gonna leave it right there. Okay, that was the cover of Adele's
Someone like You.
Yeah. What made you want to do that?
That song came about. People would think it's ironic, but I had a dream one night. I'm not gonna say a dream. It was a vision from my dead mother. Came to me and said to me, Nadine, why don't you do that song? I'm like, what song? And I went to my bed because that song is reminiscent to my life. And I was singing the song over and over, week after week until the night when I had the dream. I went back the following night and I had the same exact dream. So till I pinched myself, I said, I wonder if I went to sleep, because it was the same exact dream. And a friend of mine said to me, Nadine, sometimes you have to follow your heart. And I did. I went to the studio, my friend P-Dub, and hit it up for me, and we did the song, and it was history after that. I remember coming home. After I came home, I was feeling a little bit down. I went to bed. I woke up the morning went to bed at about 3 o'clock the night, 3 a.m. in the morning, and I woke up at about 7. And I went online and I saw this radio disc jockey. He's a good friend of mine, Ruler Brown. And I said to him, send me an email, I sent you a track. And he sent me the email, and I did, and he was excited. He said, wait, is this really you? I said, yeah. And he said, I play the song every day, but this is the only version of it really made me get up and dance. And that was history. The song, went on the charts, the top 30 charts, New York top 30 charts for 16 weeks, and debuted at number 29, and it went to number 6.
Okay.
So
we're gonna have a whole nother conversation about charts after this, because okay, yeah, we gonna get to the chart.
That
thing.
was that.
Yeah. Okay. So there's some words that have been used to describe you. Okay. Words such as ambitious, hardworking, and persistent. Now, with the challenges facing artists in these days, and especially female artists, right? With your work ethic and with those principles, with those characteristics, how are you being received from the general public, your peers, and just everybody?
I have been receiving a lot of accolades and best wishes and all that, but for the steps to get there, it's sometimes challenging. That's why now I work with management. So for me, it's not really that technical as it used to be. You just have to put your all into whatever you're doing. Be persistent, be consistent, be determined. You have to be determined, and you have to have confidence, not ego, but just confidence in know that whatever you're doing, you're confident in yourself and the work that you're producing.
Okay. Pretty good. Now, I just saw you, I recently saw you perform at the Linkage Awards, and you performed in front of stalwarts, female veterans such as Lady Saw, Junie Ranks, and Lady G. Now, how did you feel? First of all, how did you feel as a young one performing in front of these foundation artists?
It's an honor for me, but it felt really good. But
it's like
I want more. It's gonna get there, baby steps, and I am taking baby steps. But for me, that's an honor, and I had the pleasure of meeting Marcia Griffiths at Linkage Awards last year.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've met her a couple of times before, but not at this level that I am now. But fortunately, she had shouted out to me saying that if I want to have a collaboration at some point, management will take the next step for that. So I'm honored to be around veterans, man, whether it be Lady Saw, Master Griffiths, whatever veterans, whether it be male, female, as long as they've paved the way for us to take the lead now. Okay. So it's an honor for me.
Okay, because you've touched on the next question I was going to ask you, in that based on how things are in the industry, Lady Saw just said that she was going to step back because of the fight she was getting from the females in the industry. So this is a twofold question, in that how speak to the reception that you're getting from your female peers, and also speak to whether or not there is a kind of mentoring thing going on. You just mentioned that Marcia Griffiths was open to doing a collab, but okay, answer the question as to the reception from your peers.
Well,
first, and then we'll get
for my peers, it's always encouragement. And even Lady G said, keep on doing what you're doing and do it to the best of your ability. And because only your best is good enough, and your best work will speak for itself. So for me, I try to develop the skill of writing, the skill of knowing what I want to do. And when you put pen to paper, let it make sense. Don't sing because you can sing. You sing and there be a message in your music when you portray it. Okay. So, and always be positive. Okay. Always.
So that is more so from the veterans in the business.
Yeah.
What about the ones, the younger ones, the upcoming ones? What's that kind of vibe like?
Well, the upcoming artists, we're yet to kind of spread our wings and to get the rapport that we want, but it's in the making, it's coming. So I have nothing but encouragement for them and for myself. When the connection is there, it will be right.
Okay. All right. So then, in terms of the fact that this is something a friend of mine and I, we're always talking about the fact that there are no moguls in reggae per se.
In terms of male or female,
just period.
Oh.
Because when you look at a genre such as hip hop, you have the example of Dre and Eminem what's his face, 50 cents, whatever. And this other guy, forgot his name right about now, but and you have with what's this little country guy's name, Master P and his team. You have Diddy and Biggie and that set, but you find where Dre started out and he brought others on board with him. They are superstars in their own right, but they're not threatened, because at the end of the day, you look at Cash Money, people like those, they have all those moguls in hip hop and in R&B and stuff, but in reggae, what's going on for us?
Well,
is there anybody saying, you know what, Nadine, we gonna get this thing together, you know, I can mentor you, be male or female, you know, come walk with me.
Well, as you should know, and I know, that as female in the industry, whether it be rap or reggae, you know, it's always an obstacle to climb over. To be respected in the business, you know, you have to stand your ground, you have to do, you know, certain things, not to demean yourself, but you're not going to have the pedestal as a male. But you can have the pedestal as a male, but you have to be dominant. You have to make sure that your ego don't rule you or control people, you know, or people have to be drawn to you, not drawn away from you. You know what I mean? But as artists in the business and moguls, are you going to specify to reggae or just music overall?
Reggae.
Just reggae. Okay, well, I would say if there aren't any moguls in the reggae industry, for female or male or both, then what about Bob Marley? Even though he's dead, he's not? You wouldn't classify him as a mogul in the industry? Why wouldn't you?
Who did he bring? Just his kids? Okay, you know what? Let me,
No. But let me give you my perception of that. He has been such inspiration
I'm not
to
talking
many.
about moguls in terms of monetary gain or stuff like that. I'm talking about moguls in a sense that you have built this brand. Well, then, you know what? Leave Bob out it, because Bob.
But you got to also understand that Jamaica was a tiny country,
It
and
don't
even
matter.
even though we were producing music, we weren't to that level yet where, you know, an individual would have certain amount of money and say, yes, he's gonna put this person on the forefront.
But it's not about the money.
No, but that's what I'm saying to you. It takes money to push these people.
You know what? Now that we're talking about it, the closest person that I've seen who's doing kind of what I'm really thinking about is Bounty Killer.
In the sense of?
In the sense of you've got Cartel and Sham and Movado and Beanie and all of them. They have kind of come up out of, even though Beanie Man was there before Bounty and all of that, but out of that camp. And Bounty is the one who he's bringing all these guys, you know, everybody I get a bus.
Yeah, but you have to understand too that he has the machine to push whomever he wants to push.
But trust me,
you know,
there are others who have the machine who can push.
But they're not doing it. And this is what I was just about to say. You have a lot of people with talent, including myself. And sometimes the barbed wire that you have to go through to get to the top, you know, it's very difficult, especially if you're female. You know, and certain levels that you have to stoop to.
But the thing about it is, it's not even about the barbed wires or the things you got to go through. It's about, okay, for argument's sake, I can sing. I can sing my little heart out. Okay, and I'm here, and I'm doing my thing on the scene. I'm going places, and I see Nadine. I hear Nadine's music, and I'm like, look at a chick that can't sing, you know, much potential. I'm gonna put her under my wing and you know, it's not about money. It's not even necessarily about machinery. It's giving you a chance whenever I can give you a chance to do your thing, to be out there just as much as I am. Let my talent speak for itself, and your talent will speak for itself. We're two different people, but we can work together, because to me it's all about the elevation of the music. So it's from that perspective.
Yeah, but even though you might hear me and I can sing, if you notice Rihanna, she has the look, she have the body. I might have only the voice, I might not have the body. So most people would look at that and say, oh, she's not marketable, you know. But if you're someone who really cares about music or reggae music in general, you would watch the voice and not the body. You know what I mean?
But
so sometimes that it diminishes whatever talent you have.
Okay.
It's like the sex would sell more than the voice.
Okay.
You know?
We gonna touch that.
And it all comes back around to morals and values. So if you value somebody's voice over them body, that wouldn't really matter. You're gonna spend the money because what? She's gonna sell record, but then again she's got to have the look.
We keep going back to this monetary thing. It's not about the money, because I don't have to pump. Okay, yes.
It is about the money.
No,
it is about the money.
It's about. It's not about the money in that. It's about me saying, you know what, Nadine, I'm doing this show. Would you be interested in coming on the show? If I can get you on the show, would you come on the show? And you say yeah, and I go ahead knowing that I have some pull, and say, you know, can you bring Nadine on the show? It's not even, it doesn't necessarily have to be about Nadine getting paid, but if Nadine can get a little something, or even the artist who is trying to get you on the bill, say, you know something, I'm gonna break you off a little something off of my thing. I don't have to tell you that, but then I'll probably do that. And even if I don't do that, then it's like I said, it's not about the money. It's about the opportunities.
But even if it's not about the money and you get the opportunity, if you don't have the machinery behind you, how are you gonna get there?
No. This is not from the stance where the person who is it's like it's just being a mentor. It's just being a mentor.
Yeah,
saying,
but someone
you know
being
what?
a mentor to you in the music industry cannot let you be an icon.
No.
You can take the mentorship as something like knowledge that you're gonna be stepping forward with. But then going forward with the knowledge, if you don't have the money and the machinery and surround yourself with the right people to get to that level, you will never reach anywhere.
The thing about it is this: you have the talent. Say you have little pieces, bits and pieces of the puzzle to build your team. Okay, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that, you know what, I know some things. Okay, let me put it this way. Let me do it this way. It's like, let me use myself as an example. I'm in this business. Michelle and Ed, they're mentors to me, because of the fact that, you know what, they're willing to share. But there are so many people in this reggae music industry who are not willing to share. There are people within the media part of it, the different areas of the business, who, okay, they'll know how to do something, but if it's them to tell you, even if you ask how to do that, it's not going to happen, because you're going to feel, I'm going to surpass you. And
well, that's true. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact, but that's part fact. Well, let me tell you this, and what I've developed in myself. All these years I've been trying to step, try to, go through. You know what I did? I thought, you're trying to do this. Sometimes you have to divert. So I diverted, and I found a way around it. Not through them, around them.
Yeah, meander.
Yes, man. You found a way around them. So that's why sometimes you have to do things for yourself. You ever hear them have the saying, say, God help those who help themselves? Trust me, I've stepped wide and broad, long and short, in and out, just to get around them. You know? Because sometimes John know Tom and Tom know, excuse me, I didn't want to say it, and so on and so forth. So sometimes you have to bypass those people. You ever hear of heart bypass surgery? When the valve is bad, you have to bypass that one to get around to make the blood pump right. So that's what I did. You have to get around them.
Okay.
So
on that note, we just gone off on some whole heap of different tangents. So we're going to bring it back, and I'm going to play your track. Why am I gesticulating so much? You all can tell I'm excited, okay? Bless up yourself, Aki Woman, and welcome to UnSung. And I'm going to play your track. This one is called Changes, because all them little changes you have to go through to get to...
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about these changes.
Changes coming at you. Tell me what you really want, what you really gonna do. Make way for the changes coming in your life. Why? Said I know one day I'm gonna be your wife. Said a girl like me is really hard to find. Why? And this your lover girl is gonna blow your mind. Says she looking for a man like you long time. Why? And the two are we together's gonna be just fine. So me no want a man to beat up my body. I want a man who's gonna love and respect me. Me want a man who can love me real hard. Cause this your lover girl cannot deal with the fraud. No, me want a man who can cut down. With this your lover girl you could never go wrong. Every woman, yes, they had their turn. With this your lover girl you will never get burned. So make way for the changes coming in your life. Why? Said I know one day I'm gonna be your wife. Said a girl like me is really hard to find. Why? And this your lover girl is gonna blow your mind. Says she looking for a man like you long time. Why? And the two are we together's gonna be just fine. Yes, I will wash your clothes and cook your food, but you got to really want me in your neighborhood. You can take me for a walk right down in the park. You can even hold my hand in the night if it's dark. You can call me on the phone if you ever feel alone. I'll be right there for you. I'll never let you be alone. So tell me what it's gonna be. This your lover girl is gonna love you madly. So make way for the changes coming in your life. Make way. Said I know one day I'm gonna be your wife. I'm gonna love you. Said a girl like me is really hard to find. I'm a one in a million. And this your lover girl is gonna blow your mind. This your lover girl, she is the champion. Says she looking for a man like you long time. Why? Cause if you leave and the two are we together's gonna be just fine. Changes. This is a prediction coming next you. I know I'm gonna be with you one day, baby. So tell me what you really want, what you really gonna do. Take it or leave it. Oh, changes.
Okay, the sound of Miss Nadine Queen on your box. And you just heard the track called Changes. And not only were there changes in your personal life, actually not only changes in how you meandered in the business, but also changes in your personal life. So now, we're on to the point where you're now signed to Sovereign Entertainment Management. Tell us how that came about and what does that entail?
I'm hearing a trap playing in the background.
That's okay.
Okay. You reiterate the question again.
Okay.
Distracted.
We're talking about changes, and you not only had changes personally but professionally. So now you're signed to Sovereign Entertainment Management, and I just wanted to know how that came about and what does that entail. You know, we hear about people signed because I asked that specifically because people have this. I speak to artists now, and when I tell them they need management or they need to have a team behind them, management will start off as everybody, the booking agent, everybody that they need. But a lot of them say, you know, I've been doing this for myself for so long, I don't need a manager. So know that you've made this transition into being managed, actually being managed. What does that mean for you, and what does that entail?
Well, for me, managing myself for so long, it's as you'd say, you feel like you know everything.
Yeah.
Well, trust me, I'd say to all female artists out there, you don't know everything. But it has been one of a rocky road to get to this point. And I must say to them that having a manager is somewhat takes some of the baggage off your shoulders, and professionally they represent you at a level where you wouldn't be able to represent yourself.
Because I'll tell you this, and I work in other areas of the business, and I don't want to speak to no artist.
Well, that's true, and you know, it makes you look on a professional level
From that perspective.
Yeah,
yes.
they give the artist more respect in the sense that you have a representative that speaks for you. You know, so I'm happy that I have that management, and we share that relationship where it's respectful at a level where, you know, she knows what she's doing. So I be the artist, she be the manager, and there's no, you know, conflict.
Okay, because there's certain areas where, me personally, I'm big on protocols, and so I know you, but at the same time, I want you on a show or I hear about something. I'm not going to approach you first. I know who your management. If I don't know who your management is, and I'm doing my homework and I can't find it, then I'll approach you. But if I know who your management is, I'm not going to approach you first. I'm going to go talk to the manager, or if I don't have your manager's number, I'll call you and say, Nadine, I need a link for you. I need to talk to your management. Because as I said, and as you alluded to the fact that from a professional perspective, people take you a bit more seriously when they see you having representation.
Yes.
So now you have this representation. How have you've noticed the changes? I'm sure you're able to do more of the creative process as opposed to being all over the place and doing everything and having to think about everything.
Yeah, in a sense that even though management represents you, you still have a, you know, up and up on whatever is going on. But because of the relationship that you have with management, but they represent you on the levels that you can't represent yourself, because them take all the beat up. You know, you just sit in the back and they will step to whomever they have to, you know, to represent on the level where it's professionally done. So you, the artist, now just go, you know, think tank and write your lyrics and do whatever you have to do to the best of your ability. And then when you can bring the product now, then everything is all right. You don't need to worry about nothing.
Okay, all right. So what would you say to the artist who says, you know what, I don't need all of that?
As I said before, and I'm going to reiterate again, any artist who think they can manage themselves, them have a next thing coming. I mean, you are supposed to be in the know of what's going on, but you can't manage yourself, because I've been trying to do it, it never work. Trust me, never work. You know, so you have to respect yourself, and then others will respect you, and then once you have a representative that they also respect, then the respect goes up a little more.
Okay. All right. They say that most lyrical content is of a song is influenced by whatever is going on in that artist's life, or I don't think that's true, because I know that artists ride bandwagons. They've not experienced none of, some of them come out and them sing about gun pon this and gun pon that, and they never picked up a gun in their life. They've never been through.
You call them wagonists.
Yeah, and them. But the thing about that is, well, you've mentioned that you do a lot of writing, so. In your writing, what influences, your work? Because is it seeing others? Because I heard, I've penned some of your lyrics, and most of them seem to be from a personal perspective. But do you sing songs from other writers, or
yes, I do. I do.
Well, I'm not talking about like covers. I'm talking about originals from other writers.
Oh, like written lyrics from other writers. Well, that is in the works.
Okay.
That is in the works. But for now, all the material you're hearing is mine, except for the cover of Adele, Someone Like You.
Okay.
All the other material are mine. I just sit and write.
Okay.
And when I write from experience or motivation or even anger.
Okay. AccuWoman is my my cohort in the chat room, and she's agreeing with basically all that we've been saying so far, and one thing she has said that I have to agree that she's made it a little bit plainer is that your motive and your heart, it's in a different place from
Rihanna's.
Yeah, and the rest of the peeps in the business, because like I was talking to Keisha Martin the other day and Ruth Ann Brown, and they were saying, I was alluding to the fact that I asked all my female guests this question, artists this question, in that how is the interaction with the other females, and I know Ruth Ann and I know Keisha, and them no watching her face, them just do them thing. And this is kind of the same thing that AccuWoman is alluding to, the fact that you don't do that, you just do your thing.
Yeah, just do my thing, man. You don't, if you're gonna watch people, then you will never get anywhere, you never reach anywhere. And I must admit I'm guilty of that fact, because years ago I used to watch other people and get intimidated by people, and one day I just put my feet down and I said, to hell with it, excuse my language, and I said I can't be bothered with this anymore. And it has come to the fact and the forefront that, to me, sometimes people say I'm egotistical, but it's not. Just coming up and up and up, whether it be male, female, or anybody, step to you a certain way, and you would just sit and curl up like a snail. And then I just became so confident in myself that, yes, I can stand up to you, don't care, no matter who you are. And that's exactly what I did. I'm going to give you respect, though, but I'm going to stand my ground. And that's exactly what I did. As a woman, you have to stand your ground, no matter what, in anything. But you just have to be yourself. You can't be somebody else.
Okay, so in with all that, have you ever thought about walking away? Has it ever
man
gotten to the point where you're like, what, forget this. I can't do this no. This is my passion, but hey.
A lot of times, trust me, a lot of times, I've cried. I've sometimes I feel like I would die. I'm like, why can't people see me for my talent and not for my body, or and then I said, you know what, I don't care, I'm just gonna do me. And then once I started to do me, that's when everything changed. Sometimes you just have to think positive, be positive, and project positiveness, and the rest will follow.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. As Aki Woman says, you were ordained to sing.
Thank you, Aki Woman. Thank you.
And you are anointed to sing. So, Nadine Queen is going to do a sing.
Yeah.
By the way, I thought about this morning. The name. Where did that come from?
Well, Nadine, I was born with that name. Not born. My mom gave me that name. God rest her soul. As Aki Woman said, I was ordained to sing. I remembered at 7 years old, she said to me, she heard me singing to a Colleen Davis song. And when the song stopped playing, I was still singing. And she couldn't believe it. So she played the song again. And when it stopped, I was still singing. And she turned to me and she said, you know, you're going to be a star one day. I said, really, Mom? She said, yes. And I was 7 years old. And I remember those words from my mom till today. God rest her soul. She died so many years ago. And never forget those words.
Did she ever get the chance to hear you sing professionally?
No.
Oh my gosh.
She died when I was 11, 12 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
But she knew.
Yeah.
And she let you know.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair enough. Okay, so where your music is concerned, what would you describe your musical style as?
I would describe my style as just Nadine. I'm inclusive.
Okay.
You know, I don't like to say I'm just one particular kind of singer.
You're not in the box.
No, I'm not in the box.
Okay.
So I'm like a tree with many branches.
Okay. So, with this whole thing though, I this is another question I ask everybody, male and female.
But before you go to the question, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I didn't answer the question. You say, "Oh, did I get the name Nadine Queen?"
Oh, yeah, back up.
Well, that name I used to go by. I used to DJ. You know, I used to DJ too. I was a DJ and a singer.
Okay.
So anyway,
She having flashbacks, people. Okay, no, I really want to hear this.
The name Nadine Queen came about because I used to DJ, so Mr. My name Nadine Crystal, you know. And everybody said, yes, Nadine Crystal, man, the baddest singer and DJ around town, and you know. So anyway, I started singing in hotels and stuff like that, and this he's an MC, very well known MC in Jamaica, Shaka fame. He said, Nadine Crystal, you sound like a man. So I said, no. He said, no, I'm going to change your name. I said, no, you can't change my name. And that's how the name change came about. He said, look at you, you're so beautiful. You can sing too. I'm going to give a name Nadine Queen. So I said, Nadine Queen. I said, no, sir. He said, try it, man. And that's how the name got stuck, Nadine Queen.
Okay. Nadine Crystal transformed into Nadine Queen. What a difference. But somebody still like your frock, and you know who that is.
A countryman, man.
Yeah. Whatever happens in our chat room stays in our chat room. You need to log into the chat room so you can be privy to these conversations. You know what? I'm gonna leave it alone.
Nadine right.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna tune you out. I'm gonna tune you out. Okay, because we're gonna get back to this. So we were talking about we had jumped over to the whole thing about singing styles. Some people listening to your music, I would classify you as I'd introduce you as an international reggae or neo soul recording artist, because I hear
every little bit going on.
Every little thing going on. I hear the jazzy, smoky, sultry sounds. I hear the hardcore reggae. I hear the R&B. I hear the jazz. I hear the soul and even what's kind of folky stuff sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I asked you what you would describe your sound as, what you would describe your style as.
Like I said, I'm all inclusive.
Okay, she's
all
inclusive.
All inclusive. I'm all inclusive. Reggae is my heart and soul still, you know.
I'm not looking at the chat room. I can't look at the chat room.
Reggae is my heart and soul. I'm a hardcore, my roots that. I'm not going to stray from my roots. But, you know, to be diverse, you want to include everybody in whatever you're doing. You have to have some kind of diversity.
So you would agree with me then that this whole newfangled thing about fusion music is nothing new for reggae?
No, it's nothing new for reggae, because if you go back and check over everything, Dennis Brown is the prince of reggae, you know. But when Dennis Brown say takes a classic, an American classic, then and do it in reggae, it's so soulful, man. It's like you can sing it even when you're sleeping, you know. So
something you said to me earlier today was that you can take reggae.
You can take any music
from any other genre
and turn it into reggae, but you cannot turn reggae into anything. No.
Because reggae is the core.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you. So, with the whole styles and sounds, who were some of your influences? Because I asked you this because after listening to all your tracks, I still hear this individual sound, this individuality. And so apart from the Adele track, the Adele cover, and the song Crazy, where I kind of hear a little bit of Lady Saw,
Tanya Stevens.
Well,
people always say that
there when you got to the hardcore reggae part. But at the same time, I heard that, but I still heard Nadine. So it's hard for me to say, you know, like some people, like
I have a definitive sound.
Yeah, you have a distinct sound, and I can't really say, you know what, she used to listen to a whole heap of Whitney, or she used to listen to a whole heap of Chevelle or Carlene or Marcia Griffiths or any of them, because I don't hear it. So I can't tell who influenced you, male or female. So who are some of your influences? My
influence in music is going to be ironic, but it was Bob Marley.
Okay.
And the second one was Marcia Griffiths. Yeah. I grew up listening to a whole genre of different artists because my mom, she loved music. Every Sunday morning, you know, you have the record player, they call it changer. You spin with the turntable and the big needle and thing. And we listen to Jim Reeves, we listen to Nat King Cole, we listen to Bob Marley, we listen to Colleen David. I mean, a whole genre of music. Gregory Isaac, I mean, everything. My brother-in-law had a sound, and he would play from echo minor to echo slackness to whomever. It didn't matter. You know, I grew up listening to music, morning, evening, noon, and night.
So that's what's going on.
Yeah. But and my mom, she could sing too. Okay. So I got it both ways. I had a brother who used to sing. He did a couple of tracks with Capleton. His name was Uplifter. But God rest his soul, he passed away 3 years ago in his sleep. He died in his sleep. So I grew up around music. So to define myself as like just one particular sound, I wouldn't say I'm definitive yet. I'm like a tree with many branches. So
you're creating your own sound.
Yeah.
You're experimenting. You're not in the box.
No.
You know something? I'm gonna leave it alone because this is I wonder if this song is going to describe that person in the chat room.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one is called Crazy. What was going on? You know.
Well, this song was written. Trust me. Could I rather not elaborate on this one?
Okay. I'm gonna just play it. I'm just going to play it. Okay. And it goes like this. This is for that person in the chat room that's going on exactly like the song is saying. Okay, it's just the title of the track.
could rock your world. I told you I would be that chick, but nowadays, my sister, you are this. Tired of the stupid little games. You're messing with my mind and you're stressing my brain. Boy, you're driving me insane. My heart can take this pain. No, no. I'm crying over you, baby, 'cause I don't know what to do lately. I'm hurting deep inside. Maybe this love I get a high, crazy. If I was to tell you, boy, that I loved you, would you believe me? Would you ever break my heart or even try to deceive me? If I was to give you my love, would you let it last forever? Or would you try to tell me now that we could not be together? You say you are gonna meet me halfway, so come and knees every night, make a pray. Wanting only to be your girl, hoping and a praying you would rock my world. Knowing that we could have a good time if you give me sweet love, I may give you hot wine. You keep on saying everything will be fine, you only wasting my time. I'm crying over you, baby, 'cause I don't know what to do lately. I'm hurting deep inside. Maybe this love I get a high, crazy. If I was to tell you, boy, that I loved you, would you believe me? Would you ever break my heart or even try to deceive me?
No, I understand why you don't want to elaborate. And the mount up there in the chat room.
Listen, people in the chat room, don't kill me, you know. But may I tell you? Well. Let me answer the first question. If I write the lyrics first, if I write does she write the lyrics first or hear the melody before? Sometimes I write a lot of poems, and then I turn it into songs. So if I get a beat or a rhythm, whatever it is, and I can fit those lyrics on that beat, then I work with it. That's just the creative side of me. But sometimes as I get a rhythm, instantaneously, I could just put lyrics to it, because a beat to me, once it has life, it's like a rainbow. It's just colors. It just flows like that. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. So if you weren't doing music, what would Nadine be doing?
If I wasn't doing music, what would I be doing? Probably broadcasting. But you know, I'm in the health field, and I wanna propel it to another level. But that's my personal thing, so I don't want to get into that. But
Okay. All right. So you hear. We always tell people, you know, have something to fall back on.
Yep.
Because
this is not going to last forever. Music is not. Your voice will be on vinyl forever. But you know, nobody's going to be young forever. You're not going to live forever. You know. But whatever you do, whatever groundwork you lay, whatever you try to put out there, make it be something that represents you even after you're gone. So that's what I'm you know, trying to get to that level of my life.
Okay, so what's next for Nadine?
The
Nadine
Grammy
Queen.
I talk it like joke, but trust me, at the Grammy.
Okay, you know,
I'm ambitious. So, you know, I'm very ambitious.
you know what?
Bammy.
You know
Me
what?
eat enough of that when me I grew up, you know. Bammy, I would have eat some right now with some fried fish.
Okay. All right, so tell the people where they can get your music.
Well, my music are available on iTunes. It's on Amazon, TuneCore, CD Baby. They can listen to me on Reverb Nation and also on YouTube. They could send me a request on LinkedIn. On Twitter, it's Nads for Love, NADZ, the number 4, LOVE. And on Facebook, it's Nadine Queen.
Okay. So her music is available everywhere. So people, y'all need to go out and support the thing, support the artist, and purchase the music. Now, time flies when we're having fun.
Yeah.
But you gonna stay with me for?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, I'm coming down. There was this whole other conversation on Facebook when I post the flyer, and I want to touch a little bit on that. But well, actually, I'm gonna get to my thing, because if I ask you that, we're gonna go off on some serious tangents. Yeah, so I'm gonna put this in there. I'm gonna put this in there. Okay, I hear reference made to healing through the music, and when I heard your music first, this next track is the one that I was introduced to your music through, and it's I Believe. Okay, and whenever I hear it, you know, it gives me the sense of hope, and kind of heals. So what was going on? I'm gonna be nosy now. What was going on?
Where that song came about? That song, I think I wrote that song in probably like maybe half an hour to an hour. Yeah, between 15-20 minutes, roughly between, I would say 45 to an hour. And that song came about because I was so upset. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she didn't really call me an atheist, but we disagreed on many different topics. And she said that I've strayed away from my culture and my roots and my beliefs. And I said, what are you talking about? And I don't believe in God, and I don't this and whatever, because I wasn't agreeing with her on whatever she was, portraying to me. And I said to her, we were having a conversation, and the conversation became so heated that she started cursing at me. And I was really upset. And I said to her, watch me, I'm going to show you. And I went after about a couple of minutes after, and I started writing. I just wrote the song. I just heard the beat, and I said, you know what, I'm going to write the song. And I went and I did it. That's how the song came about.
Okay. The name of this track is I Believe. And this is kind of, I heard Aki Woman play it on Rockers Corner for the first time one Sunday morning. And it actually came about at a time when I was like so exhausted, and I was just too through. And I look forward to listening to Aki Woman on a Sunday morning, because when I don't get to go to church, that's my little pick-me-up. And even when I get to go to church and I can get a little prips in, it's still my pick-me-up. So she knows exactly what to play to get me going. But she'd mess me up that morning, and she played this track. And it goes a little something like this.
Yes, I believe that you came to save my soul, and I believe that you died to make me whole. Yes, I believe you sacrificed your life for me, and I believe that you came to set us free. Oh, you're my strength and my redeemer. Your precious name I call. You're my light, my guide and my protection, my shield, my rock, my wall. And I believe when you told me we had to mumble before we talk. And I believe when you told me you made us scream before we walk. And you said you'll never leave me, you'll catch me lest I fall. And you said you're gonna help me to stand up tall. So when I wake up in the morning and I see the shining sun, I give thanks and praise to you. And when I go on my journey and my day is done, I give thanks and praise to you. And when me go down on my knees, I'ma pray to the Father I own. you put a smile on my face, cause you're my saving grace. So I told myself everything in life I request and you will bless.
And you know how I am. You know this don't come back from the top. You know. You just know. So, the sounds of Miss Nadine Queen doing I Believe. Listen to the lyrics, people.
Yes, I believe that you came to save my soul, and I believe that you died to make me whole. Yes, I believe you sacrificed your life for me, and I believe that you came to set us free. Oh, you're my strength and my redeemer. Your precious name I call. You're my light, my guide and my protection, my shield, my rock, my wall. And I believe when you told me we had to mumble before we talk. And I believe when you told me you made us scream before we walk. And you said you'll never leave me, you catch me lest I fall. And you said you're gonna help me to stand up tall. So when I wake up in the morning and I see the shining sun, I give thanks and praise to you. And when I go on my journey and my day is done, I give thanks and praise to you. And when me go down on my knees, I'ma pray to the Father, I only pray to you. And when I lose my cool and I call on you, you always see me through. And if I feel out of place, you put a smile on my face, cause you're my saving grace. So I told myself everything in life I request and you will bless. Oh, you gotta believe me. You gotta believe me. Cause I believe that you came to save my soul. And I believe that you died to make me whole. Yes, I believe you sacrificed your life for me. And I believe that you came to set us free. Cause every man have to go through the struggles of life. Some have it easy and some have to fight. We have to struggle in a day and struggle in a night. Hoping and praying you will make it alright. Yes, we have to struggle in our life to survive. Fighting for the truth and fighting for the right. Some of them will tell truth and enough of them will like us. Some of them are false prophet and that's not right. Some are we are gonna live and some may die. Some are we are gonna weep and some may cry. Now for we are gonna strive, but at the end of the day you are the way, the truth and the light. You gotta believe me. You gotta believe me. Cause I believe that you came to save my soul. And I believe that you died.
The sound of Miss Nadine Queen. You're in tune to E2 on Air. The program is UnSung. And my guest is Nadine Queen. You're listening to the track called I Believe. We're coming up to 4 minutes to the hour 6, and I have another guest. And I have another track that I was just told that I can't come out of here and not play. So that I can come back in here next week, I'm going to play this track. And it's called Mikasa Sukasa. And it goes a little something like this. So, boss lady, I have a job next week, okay?
I need you. I need you.
The sound of Nadine Queen.
I need you. I need you, baby. You got your body right here. So do I. Why won't you come a little closer? You're setting my soul on fire. You promise me you'll take your time, 'cause I want you here with me. Why you make me weak till you touch? Now you got me on my hands and knees. Mikasa, Sukasa, want you in a me world. Mikasa, Sukasa, wanna be your only girl. Mikasa, Sukasa, need you in a me life. Mikasa, Sukasa, baby, just do it right. In my life I need no other man. Been searching for so long. A man like you, me really wanting on me world. If you're down with the chocolate and down with the swirl, you make me humble as a dove. Kill me with your sweetness, kill me with your love. I don't need no diamonds and pearl, but I need you to love this girl. Mikasa, Sukasa, want you in a me world. Mikasa, Sukasa, wanna be your only girl. Mikasa, Sukasa, need you in my life. Mikasa, Sukasa, baby, just do it right. Now you got me screaming your name. Boy, you're driving me insane. Rubbing my hands all over your back with my fingers in the cracks. Boy, you got me ripping up my hair, saying all these words, I swear. I never, ever, ever met a man like you, and frankly, I don't care. Never, ever met a man like you. Never met a man like you. Never, ever met a man like you. Never met a man like you. I wanna feel your sweet sensation all over me. Fill me with your charms and your kisses and charisma. Bring me to ecstasy. Wait a minute, I forgot just to mention, I'm gonna need your real full attention. Wouldn't mind getting all the dimension. Let me lose my concentration. You promise me you'll take your time, 'cause I want you here with me. Why you make me weak till you touch? Now you got me on my hands and knees. Mikasa, Sukasa, want you in a me world. Mikasa, Sukasa, wanna be your only girl. Mikasa, Sukasa, need you in a me life. Mikasa, Sukasa, baby, just do it right. Mikasa, Sukasa, I need you. Mikasa, Sukasa, I need you, baby. Mikasa.
My house is your house. And on that note, I want to thank you, Miss Nadine, for being here with me this evening. And we're definitely going to have a part 2, because we got off into some things that we just touched. And, you know, we need to get a little bit deeper into some things. And I have a whole lot of other stuff that I need to ask you and we need to talk about. So you're definitely going to be coming back. We probably do it as a co-host thing, and we just go on with the thing.
Anytime. And I must say thanks for having me.
And want to big up management right about now, Miss Charmaine. And we want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak with your artist. And we're supposed to do a giveaway, because you're going to be doing the show. Tell the people about the show.
Well, the show that I'll be performing on is going to be at the Wembley Athletic Club in the Bronx, and that's on May 10th. So it's a pre-Mother's Day show. So bring your mother or your mother, and your mother-in-law, your stepmother. You know, bring all of them and come and full enjoy the show. Bring your wives, bring your husbands, and just come and enjoy the show. It's going to be artists performing like Nadine Queen, Ed Robinson, Jeffrey Spence, Dr. Love, Misha Conscious, and you know, a whole more host of artists. So come on down and full joy a night of fun, food. It's going to be a mini fashion show and buffet style. So come on down. And it's a reasonable price. It's going to be $25 in admission. If you even have $20, we will take you still, So don't have that as an excuse so you don't have the full price. Because it's not all the time it comes around where you have a Mother's Day show that's going to give you one umbrella that you get such good artists performing, like, in and around town. So come and enjoy a night of fun.
Okay, so before the end of the show today, we're going to do a giveaway. And you will have the chance to win tickets to go see Nadine Queen, Ed Robinson, Dr. Love,
Jeffrey Spence,
and
Misha Conscious,
Devon George.
Yeah.
Steven Souza, I think.
Steven Souza, right.
Just talent going to be up in the place for a pre-Mother's Day celebration. And like I said, you'll have an opportunity to win tickets to that event right here on E2 on Air on the program UnSung before the end of the show this evening. And right about now, while I get ready to transition into my other guest, let's pause a moment for the cause. So we're going to do a little something like this.
Black woman, like me you've struggled long. Yes, the struggle still goes on. This is Judy Mowat, and I'm saying Happy International Women's Month to all my sisters. Remember, it's not just a month, but it's all year, all the time. We are to be respected and loved. Amen? Yeah.
Okay, it's not doing my automatic thing. It wants me to do it individually. So, okay, I'm going to do it individually. So here we go.
Every woman have an equal right to live and be free. No matter what color, class, or race she may be.
Hey, it's your girl Shima, aka the First Lady of the Big Ship, and you're listening to Woman in Reggae.
Yes, it's 5 minutes past the hour 6, and we're still celebrating Women in Reggae. It's International Women's Month, and here at E2 we propose to celebrate the women in reggae. And I have been doing that all this month. I have been playing the music of all female artists. All my guests have been females, and I'm down to my last Thursday. So come next month is all about autism and a whole lot of other stuff going on. So next month, guys, you can start hearing the men again. But for right now, it's all about the women. And while I wait for my next guest to come in, to call in, I'm going to play this one from Queen Omega, and it simply says woman.
You got to hold strong, stand firm. Woman with the possibility, she can be anything she wants to be. Black woman from the river Nile, so rich and fertile like the African soil. Woman with the possibility, she can be anything she wants to be. Black woman from the river Nile, so rich and fertile like the African soil. African soil. Woman, with the possibility, we can be anything we want to be. Black woman, from the river Nile, so rich and fertile like the African soil. Black woman, with the possibility, we can be anything we want to be. Black woman, black woman, hold strong and stand firm. In Babylon, heading towards Mount Zion.
Black Woman, the sound of Queen Omega. And right about now, I have my other guest online. And we're going to kick the boss man out of the studio because he's being very disruptive. He was very disruptive online. And he chose to come inside and be disruptive, no? And we're going to put him out. And all of that. So, my guest this evening.
I would like to thank you for the lovely introduction. I would also like to thank Michelle and Ed Robinson and the entire E2 family for the platform to be with you. I apologize for not being able to be in studio, but as you know, I had a previous engagement.
Busy woman.
To make it in time, but I had to be. Luckily, we have phones, so I'm here.
Okay. I have so many things to ask you. I have so many things to talk to you about, and I know that this hour is just not going to do it. It's definitely not going to do it, because this is a multi-dimensional woman, people, and she has a wealth of information, and I'm just rambling on and cutting into the time. So you know what? I'm just going to get down to it. I'm not even sure where to begin, but I'll just hit it off with your qualifications, in that you're an artist manager, you're a booking agent, you're a music publisher, you're a video director, you're a website designer, you're a publicist, among a whole lot of other talents. Okay, now which area of your diverse capabilities are you is your favorite, and which is your least favorite of all those that I've just mentioned?
I will say the number one favorite would be website design, and I'm a very creative person, and it always gives me an opportunity to create a product from beginning to end. The other areas are mostly, people related, and as you know, there's no way you can't control people from beginning to end. That's challenging, but I do enjoy all aspects of the business. And what I do, people always ask me in terms of the time and the areas. I try to work with each client on a project-to-project basis, so there's no given time where I'm doing every role at one time.
Okay.
It would just be impossible.
Alrighty then. So people are probably wondering, okay, we don't know Patrice Barnes, and you're telling us about this multi-dimensional person, and this person who wears all these caps, hats, and stuff, and you just jump into the thing. That was very deliberate, because now you've got a little hint as to the different facets of Patrice Barnes. So, Patrice, who better to tell them about who Patrice Barnes is than Patrice Barnes herself? I want to introduce to some and present to others. Patrice, tell them a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, Patrice, I am right now. I am actually the CEO of PatriceConcepts.com, and that's my multimedia company that I established in 2003. While I established that, my father had an independent record label in 2001 that we established as well. So throughout the years, a majority of my clients were initially website clients, and then once they saw that we also have the music, the record label, a lot of the services overlapped. You would have one client say, okay, I need website development, but can you also do booking? Can you also do management? Can you also do publishing? So throughout those years, I kind of simultaneously try to acquire the knowledge in a different field, and the business relationships blossomed. So as of today, I'm no longer focusing on the record label. The primary focus is my PatriceConcepts.com, which it handles the website development, publicity, video production, and then I also do the music publishing under a separate entity, which is www.cleversoulpublishing.com. Okay.
All right. We're not going... Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, the clients... So I have clients for each company that's separate. My primary clients for the website designing is Capleton, Tony Curtis, Anthony Cruz, Leroy Sibbles, and a few other small business. And as for the publishing side, my clients for that are Lexus, G-Wiz, Tony Curtis, and Anthony Cruz again, as well as 2 record labels, which are Fam's House Music, that's operated by, I'm sure many people will be familiar with Aston Family Man Barrett, which was a bass player from the Wailers with Bob Marley.
Right.
His kids have actually blossomed, and they've started their own independent production house, so that's Fam's House. They've been doing that for the last 5 years. So I'm helping them as well as a new generation of the Barrett brothers, helping them handle their music publishing, as well as another company, which is Studio Vibes Entertainment in Florida.
Okay. So, people, you can see that we're not dealing with any little, as we Jamaicans would say, dibby personality here. We're talking about an established businesswoman, one who knows the business and knows what she's talking about. And so we're not going to beat around the bush. We're just going to dive into the diverse topics that we have this evening. And as I go there, I'm thinking about how artists these days tend to not know the differences between the different capacities in which you operate. In terms of, for an example, they don't know the different roles played on an individual basis by a manager as opposed to a booking agent. So, can you break this down a little bit break this down a little bit for them, and probably, when you actually do this, they will take the time out to come to the conferences, the music conferences, where they will get this wealth of information. And they'll see that what you're saying this evening is just a tip of the iceberg of what they need to know. So can you break that down a little bit for them?
Absolutely. Well, management is basically, encompasses a lot of things. Your manager is basically like the president of the company or the lead. They in turn would oversee the booking agent, which is the individual or the company that secures the gigs or dates or concerts or whatever you would refer to as engagement for artists. Your publicist is the person that would basically keep your name in the press, generate a buzz, arrange interviews with the media, whether it's print, magazines, TV, radio. Your music publisher now helps you register your songs and all your materials. And you would have, stylists along the way. You would have attorneys. If you have an artist that understands what management entails, and the manager's job now is to organize, make sure all these different players work in accordance to the plan, whether it's to promote the art, whether it's an album, a single, just the artist's career overall. But what's happening over the years is a lot of the times artists come to the table with absolutely no finances, no career goals, no plan, nothing. So the manager's job, it's overlapped, and a lot of people have walked away not really understanding what the manager's role is. The artists that I work with, everything I do, I have a written contract.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm representing an artist, my contract is basically going to say, these are the areas. For example, I am going to help you acquire clients, meaning I'm going to help you negotiate a contractual relationship, whether it's through getting an attorney, getting an accountant, a stylist, a music publisher. I am going to develop career strategies, which is, what's your image going to look like, what are the best industry practices to get your career moving forward. I would probably, in terms of the developed career strategies, I would recommend artists that you could potentially collaborate with or record labels to work with. I would create a marketing tools such as EPKs, electronic press kit, a website, promotional pictures. I would also help acquire funding. For example, applying for grants or loans. If it's an artist that really understands what it takes to really, keep a career going. Overseeing also, another thing, the aspect of management is overseeing the production and the recording process.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times we find artists today, they get a song or they get a track and they do whatever they want on it. There's no manager to say, hey, for example, if Anmour is the artist, there's no management to say, you know what, I don't think that rhythm or that song, best reflects your image.
Mm-hmm.
So a good manager would generally oversee the production process as well, making sure once the product is, making sure the product is a best representation of the artist, making sure it's properly registered, the right contract is in place in terms of the publishing. Another area would be overseeing live performance opportunities. Basically the manager would communicate with the booking agent. Is that basically saying, okay, this artist has a new single, what's the best target demographic? Are they stronger in Europe, or are they stronger in the Caribbean, or are they stronger in the States?
Mm-hmm.
So the manager would oversee, making sure that the rates that the artist is requiring is commensurate with the actual artist demographics that they could reach, as opposed to an artist saying, hey, I want 20,000, and not being able to bring 5 people to the venue.
Mm-hmm.
Another area would be, overseeing, like I said earlier, the music publishing.
Mm-hmm.
The manager itself is not doing these individual roles. They're just making sure. It's like they're the boss of the actual players, which is the booking agent, the publisher, as I mentioned earlier, if it's an accountant on board. Another area that the manager is going to do is actually monitor the revenue stream.
Mm-hmm.
Artists are able to make money from, record sales, merchandise, touring, music royalties. So your manager would kind of oversee and make sure you're getting the right statements from your music publisher. If the artist does have a business, there's times when the manager might oversee that business,
mm-hmm.
making sure they have the right attorneys, making sure they follow the right regulations and practices depending on the type of business, making sure they have the right accountants in place. Another area would be artist development. If you're a manager, you would, encouraging and teaching the artist how to conduct interviews.
Mm-hmm.
What opportunities to look out for, personal skills, fan club management. So as you see, a real artist manager has a variety of things that they would have to oversee. But throughout the years, the role has been filled by a lot of incompetent managers,
mm-hmm.
aka damagers, and artists have a misinterpretation of what a manager is.
Mm-hmm.
So today, flash forward to 2013, a lot of artists are under the impression that a manager is supposed to provide food, clothing, shelter, cars, and cash.
Mm-hmm.
And very few, if you look at about, I wouldn't say 95, but about maybe 94% of the reggae community or genre, if you say to them, okay, you're looking for a manager, what qualities are you looking for? I guarantee maybe the first quality is going to be someone with money.
Okay.
And we have a bad, tendency to believe that money cures everything. We saw that with even the U.S. president election.
Mm-hmm.
We had Mitt Romney, who's a millionaire, if not a billionaire, and we had President Obama. And, you clearly saw who the people selected, whether or not the Electoral College made the final decision or the general public.
Mm-hmm.
You clearly saw the money wasn't the primary interest of the general public.
Okay.
The one that had the most money was not nominated, was not selected.
Okay. You've mentioned so many facets to just a small. To me, you've mainly been talking about the role of the manager, and what he or she oversees, and we see that there's so many facets to just that one job description. And so what would you say to an artist who the one I'm going to describe now is obviously misled or just clueless? What would you say to an artist who says, you know what, I've been managing myself for so many years, and I've been doing a very good job of it, and you know, I don't need a manager? Or one who says, okay, I have a manager in Jamaica and I have a manager in New York or in the US. How could you guide that artist back on the right path, then, so to speak? Because no, I'm sure we're dealing with an artist who is just got this terrible mindset that
right.
I can do it all by myself. I know everything. So how would you steer that artist in the right direction?
Well, one of the key strategies I've realized in life is a lot of people are visual. They have to see things. So I would create a simple thing on. It could be basic. It could be a video, kind of saying, okay, this is the role of a manager, or it could just be a standard paper, just writing it down on a paper, making a list. The left-hand column, you would say, okay, this is the role of management. And on the right-hand column, I would say to the artist, based on what you see as these clearly outlined roles of management, what are you doing compared to this list? If they say, well, I'm doing all of the above, then absolutely, if you're doing all of the above, you should be really successful then, and you probably shouldn't you wouldn't need anyone. And I've done this in the past, and artists will look on the list and they'll say, wow, that is really management? Oh my God, I'm really not doing that.
Okay, so what about the artist who, let me go way in left field now, the artist who is not necessarily as literate as we would hope? How would you handle that?
Those artists that are not that literate, that's where I put the video in, or I would actually read everything on the list, step by step.
Oh.
Okay.
We would sit down, I would say, okay, which we understand there's a lot of illiteracy in our community.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily, I've learned over the years you have to have, different ways of breaking down things. So I go step by step. Okay, these are the key things, key areas. One step at a time. Is this something that you could do? And I would show results. So for every role or everything that the manager is going to cover, I would say, okay, this is what it equates to. People sometimes don't want to be bombarded with, okay, you could do all of these things. They want to know what's the outcome, what's the result. So an artist who probably didn't finish elementary school, I would definitely do the video for them as well as the actual presentation that I would actually do most of the speaking in during. And I would let them know, okay, look on this, and then I would try to find an example of an artist with management who are, doing the same practices as what my outline may look like, and say, okay, this is what, let's say a Britney Spears, not necessarily saying she has the greatest management, I'm just using an international artist that artist would respect, and I would say, okay, look at Britney, her management is using this same blueprint. So the artist who's not that literate now might say, oh, wow, so that's what it took for Britney to get there. Then they start believing it more. But if you show them an artist a blueprint, or you even mention something and you have no examples, it's going to be harder for them to believe it.
Okay. So based on what you've said, I hear a manager playing a lot of roles. Some in this day and age when we have artists that upcoming artists who have not necessarily reached anywhere per se, and so does not have that income per se to compensate a full team. they have a tendency now. The team is a very necessary factor in the equation as it relates to their career. So, but I find that one of the main reasons why artists don't go towards getting this team together, whether it's starting out real small to get where they're going, is the monetary the compensation for said individuals. So what are the standard rates for say an artist manager or a booking agent? What are the commission rates like? Because
a commission for international managers, it varies from 20 to 25%, and booking agents, it could be anywhere from 10 to 20% in terms of their commission per gig.
And this is a standard thing. So all my artists out there who are finding it hard to say, you know what, I'm gonna get $5,000 for this gig or $10,000 for this gig, and I find it hard to pay a publisher and my manager and my booking agent and my tour manager. Well, I guess the tour manager.
But here's the thing, though, Anmour. With one of the biggest misconceptions is artists are under the impression that they have to pay all of this in advance. Sometimes you don't have to necessarily pay everything in advance. It's on accumulated income. Problem within our community is about 90% of our community, the first thing they're going to tell you, I can't afford all those people. Music is a team sport, Anmour. It's 95% business and 5% music.
Please
right?
repeat that. Please repeat that.
Yeah. So if and I hate to sound so harsh, but you cannot. It's like going to Atlantic City expecting to win if you didn't gamble, if you didn't pay, you didn't buy a ticket, you didn't risk anything. You can't win the lottery without buying a ticket. So for the artists who are, they're new, they're smaller, they might not have the necessarily income. They shouldn't think and say, oh, I can't afford these things. How about this? For the amount of money that you have, sometimes it's best to negotiate. You know that you're going to need a publisher, you're going to need the booking agent, the artist manager. Sometimes you could propose and say, hey, I respect the concept of the team. However, due to my finances right now, I can't necessarily pay everyone the maximum, which might be 25%. Can I pay you 15%? Can I try to pay you 10%? We don't have many artists that actually try that approach. They all throw in the towel and say, oh, it's too expensive. I can't afford those teams.
Okay.
So what happens is the lack of interest in paying. If your income as an artist is, let's say, $1 and more, think about it, and you have to pay 10%. If you even walk away with even 30 cents, you have to risk something to gain. So if an artist, I tell the artists that I work with, I'm sorry, but I would have to be compensated, even if the check is $1. Because if you don't practice splitting $1, you're not going to want to split 1,000. You're not going to want to split 10,000 or
exactly
100,000 or $1 million. And then when I break it down and they see the math, they're like, oh, it's not that expensive. It's not that hard. No. And this is another thing. Artists who are dependent on music, especially new artists, only to as their only source of income, it's probably not a good idea. Sometimes you have to maintain a part-time gig or another, something that is legal that you could do until your music income reaches a level where it could accommodate the lifestyle that you're living.
Or you want to live.
Or you want to live, right? So, the thing is, a lot of them want to come to music and they say, okay, I need all these pieces. They have absolutely no money to invest. If you don't practice investing in yourself, what happens is whoever invests with you at that time, they're going to need to recoup. So you come to the table with zero, your management or your team is going to end up recouping most of the money because you didn't have a down payment. It's like buying a house. You go to the bank and you say, I only have, $10,000 down payment, your interest rate might be higher, right? Or if you're getting a car. So music is the similar concept as what runs every other aspect of business throughout the world. It's just that a lot of artists get carried away, and before they actually sit down and do the basic math and renegotiate, they tell you they can't afford all these all these people.
Okay.
So what happens now is the friend or the incompetent family member is playing a managerial role, playing booking, trying to do publishing, and nothing is done the right way. And then before you know it, years pass by and the artist has nothing because your music publishing is your pension. So you're telling me now, if your pension requires a music publisher and you're going to sit here and say you can't afford it, who is supposed to feel sorry for you 10 to 15 years after the fact? It's mandatory that you have a music publisher or you're associated with a performance rights society where your songs will be properly registered and accounted for in the music realm, and you'll be compensated. If you don't find that important enough to either work the money, we're not saying artists are rich just like that, because there's a lot of upcoming artists that we understand they're struggling. Some of them have kids, other responsibilities. But if you don't try to develop a way to invest, whether it's doing a 9 to 5 from that early level, you're going to miss out.
Okay. In all you said so far, I hear a lot of emphasis being placed, not deliberately, but just in common sense, from a common sense level, saying that education in so many different aspects is key, even in this music business, as it is in life. So
exactly. How
important is music business education for an artist and team, for a first-time artist?
It's very important. Here's the thing, Anmour, like a lot of the artists before 1980, let's say 1980 was 1981, right? A lot of those artists were at a disadvantage because, one, the genre was still developing. A lot of them, they didn't have the internet like we do today. So, and they were from impoverished communities, and we know already it was limited. They had limited access. The producers themselves that worked with them were still amateurs and were still learning the business. Now you flash forward to 20-something, 30-something years later. A lot of artists, we have an abundance of information online, free. We have videos. We have so many files. We have audio. So artists who might say, okay, I don't know anything about publishing, one of the things I could always sometimes present them with materials, with from attorneys as well as music publishers and the performance rights societies to educate them, but they have to be willing to watch. I could tell you things from my experience, but hey, you still have to be willing to read or watch what I give you. So for the artists that aren't able to read, they have to be able to listen audio and interpret.
Okay.
And one of the problems is a lot of artists, 90% of artists are not really interested in the actual business aspect in terms of paperwork. So the ignorance continues. So when I speak to artists all the time, one of the things they'll tell me is, well, I was robbed. And I always say, you were robbed on what basis? Where is the evidence? You can't just throw up these allegations. What contracts did you sign? Did you invest in yourself? 9 out of 10 of the artists, no self-investment. They didn't sign a contract. So I always say to them, if you go to court, you're going to lose. You have no documentation. You can't just wake up and say you're robbed. You have to build a case.
Okay.
So the material is there, and there are many people that are willing. Unlike before, years ago, when the major companies were still in power, the internet wasn't that strong. A lot of artists weren't privy to certain information. But now you could go to something simple like Google, and you might say, if you're new to music publishing, you just type in Google, what is music publishing? And I guarantee you'll find tons of videos from qualified experts within the field that could give you the basics. So if you're not someone, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
Yeah, so if you're not someone that likes to read, you could watch videos.
Okay. So, in summing up all you've said thus far in terms of the differences between management and booking agents and the different factors that come into play to build that team, what are some of the, to just summarize, what are some of the key things an artist and a team have to ensure in order to make sure that they're getting what they need to. They're putting all they need to have in place in order to be a success.
Okay, the artist definitely has to have an agenda. For example, they have to know, understand what their target demographics is in terms of the lyrical content, who are they trying to reach, and then what will happen now is, based on what they present, the manager now will assemble the team. Now the team is going to consist of, like I mentioned earlier, the manager is going to make sure that you develop a career strategy to meet the artist's expectations. So if they say, okay, I want to put out an album this year or next year, the artist now is going to make sure, one, that they have the right producers on board, the right record company, the right music publisher to make sure when the songs are actually ready, it's registered with the, U.S. Copyright Office or the Performance Rights Society. Make sure the manager's going to make sure marketing strategies in place, whether it's through EPKs, press kits, TV, commercials, radio. The manager's going to, at times, if they can, acquire funding to facilitate this extra promotion. Sometimes it could be, private loans, could be sponsorship. It could be, advances from the potential record label. The manager is going to oversee the actual production process, like I mentioned earlier, and oversee, okay, once the product is ready, where's the artist going to be able to perform? The manager at that point will communicate with the booking agent and say, hey, let's try to coordinate even a promotional tour. Let's try to get this artist on festivals, on radio shows, TV shows to promote the product. Manager is going to make sure, if there's any business, which a lot of the artists don't really necessarily have business, especially the new ones. But for example, they might say, okay, I have a clothing line or a fan club. Manager is going to oversee the products that come from that opportunity to make sure that the artist gets the maximum exposure and it complements the artist's image. So what we'll find is, when the product is ready, you're going to have a potential product. It could be T-shirts. When I say when I mention merchandise, so as the artist's product is released, you're going to have maybe a T-shirt available. Manager is going to oversee and make sure that the image or the logo or the motto or whatever is on the T-shirt complements the actual project, so the artist gets maximum exposure. And along that process, you might find different companies. It could be a third-party company might say, you know what, I like the artist, I like the song, I want to use it on my TV show, or I want to sponsor this artist, or I want to invest. Manager will negotiate with those third-party companies. So you might have a brand, like I'm sure you've seen it, where different artists, especially here in the States, they might have a buzz, what we consider a buzz, where there's interest in the artist, and they might, you might have a clothing line or a sneaker company or a beverage company might approach that artist and say, hey, can you do this Pepsi ad for us? So your manager would be that person to negotiate with Pepsi or whoever the third party is that's facilitating that opportunity.
Okay, so
your manager.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so your manager, when you're thinking about a manager, you're looking for someone with good communication skills, a good reputation, someone that you could actually communicate with, responsible, detail-oriented, paperwork. They have to, demonstrate that leadership quality, someone that will tell it like it is, someone who's diplomatic, who will be able to, maneuver their way through the different aspects of the business, the different parties, because already, every business has there's politics.
Right.
It's not as easy as just getting there. And sometimes you need a manager who knows how to barter. For example, you might not have the full amount of cash, but the manager might say, you know what, my artist can't pay that full lump sum, but hey, we'll volunteer our time. We'll come to your local event. We'll be, that public voice for whatever cause that you're doing at that time. So you need someone that understands that. And, it's been hard. I talk to companies all the time because I always challenge them and say, hey, reggae is such, in my opinion, it's so why don't we have more representatives? And they always come back to me and say, well, Patrice, until you could present us with, you or anyone within that genre could present us with an artist that has a team or a manager that understands this concept to negotiate with us, we'll be open, but we haven't seen any except for Bob Marley.
Okay.
That's what they always tell me. They're like, oh, Bob Marley, he has an estate and we like what they're doing. Because I'm always trying to look for different opportunities for the clients that I work with. and I do have a lot of corporate experience. So a lot of the times I create proposals and I pitch it to them, and that's the feedback.
So what do you say to the artist who believes who is constantly in the studio producing, laying down tracks, and not is looking for the monetary gain solely from sale of those tracks, and be it singles or an album, as opposed to getting into what you're talking about earlier about merchandising and doing the festivals and stuff like that. Would you say don't record so much, or spread it out? What would you say?
I would tell an artist that, but truthfully, as even a creative person, it is very hard to tell someone to limit their creativity. Like, the artist ideas come to them constantly, even though we know a lot of it is redundant, and the lyrical content sometimes it's like you've heard it so much. I try to tell an artist, okay, if you're going to record so much, can you at least squeeze in an hour or two to learn another area of the business? So you have all these songs. What target demographics? Who are you going to pitch these songs to? Now, if you saturate, and I try to show them the pros and the cons, and I say, okay, well, if you release 20 tracks a week or a month, now you're not giving the consumer an opportunity to breathe or digest any of that material. It's almost like if a new cell phone came out every day, it wouldn't have its value. So I use those analogies, but truthfully, I haven't seen anyone able to tell an artist to stop recording and the artist listens.
Okay.
They just feel like, okay, an idea comes to me. I don't care how many songs I've done. I'm going to get it out. The only thing I say to artists is, if you want to stay in the studio 24 hours a day and record, go ahead, but don't release everything.
Exactly.
It's just the releasing. I would not sit here and say, okay, I think you should go in Monday through Wednesday. I can't control that, because that's their creative. You know what I mean? That's their line. But I say to them, okay, think about, with all this product here, if you were to come outside and just throw it out there on the ground, do you think people would appreciate it? And then they'll look and say, well, yeah, you're right. Like over the last 6 or 7 years, I've told the artist who's publishing that I'm actually doing now, I told him, I said, you know what, if you continue to voice for so many producers, you're going to confuse the market. You have to, how about being selective with who you record for? Work with a producer who has a plan in place. Don't just work with someone who just woke up and said, okay, I want to put out a rhythm today, and I'm putting out one day after and a day after. So I've noticed a change. They've been a little selective with who they record for, and they're not crowding, as we would say, or saturating the business as before. And all of these things take time. I mean, when I'm able to show an artist, hey, you don't have to record tomorrow, because guess what? I just collected a royalty check for you. Now I've given the artist, I've not only mentioned another option, but I've showed another area where they can actually make money. So when they look at the two, they're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Maybe I should be patient, because I am getting a royalty check. So I don't, when I present to them opportunities such as merchandise, they'll say, okay, yeah, you're right, Patrice. So if I do sell a T-shirt, maybe that'll, 100 T-shirts, that'll generate something. So you can't just say to an artist, okay, stop doing this. You have to also, if you say stop, you also have to present some lucrative opportunities that they could actually see, some revenue from, because everyone has their families to feed, and we know already the general responsibility.
Okay. I'm going to back up a little bit and ask you, what's your take on these 360 deals, and do you think it can work in reggae?
360 deals has always been around, but they just weren't, it wasn't labeled. And if you notice, I tell people all the time, a lot of the Motown artists and the older artists from the 60s and the 70s, they were, I wouldn't say victims, but that's exactly what they were, 360 deals. So it's always been going on, and you're not going to escape it now, because the industry, you already see sales is on a decline. record companies have to find out ways to really make back that money.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with reggae now is our artists are the only ones that don't have enough patience to let anything work. So I think a 360 deal is going to be very, very difficult. One, when you sign a 360 deal, you can't really record with 20 to 30 different producers.
Mm-hmm.
Reggae artists are so used to, reggae and dancehall artists are used to just voicing for whoever they want, when they want, however they want.
The bottom line, there's no discipline there, so.
There's no, exactly, the key thing is discipline. So I don't really, like I said, it's always been going on. I just don't really see at this point with what I'm exposed to. I don't really see a reggae or a dancehall artist signing a 360 deal without complaining. I'm not saying they won't, but I imagine whoever signs one is definitely going to complain. Because if you're not willing to have your manager appoint the team players that I mentioned earlier, and when you go to a record label now, a major label in the U.S. or where around the world, they're not even going to ask you, okay, Anmour, are you getting an attorney, or are you getting a stylist, or are you getting a publisher? That's what the 360 deal covers. Mm-hmm. They want a cut of your touring, your shows. They want a cut of the merchandise that you sell. They want a percentage of the recording.
Mm-hmm.
They want a percent of any deals that is executed during the time that they invested in you. So even if you were to sign a TV a deal with a TV company or a beverage company, they want a percentage of that.
Okay. Now, while we're talking about the 360 deals and whether or not it would work in reggae, and we were alluded to the fact that because there's no discipline among artists and whomever, in the business, it's also we also noted the fact that there's no respect for contracts. So it's one of the things that would make it difficult for things to work. Because as we mentioned, that I was looking at an awards show a few weeks ago, and I'm sure. Well, let me not put my neck on the block, but let's just be general then, and say not for that particular award show, but awards shows in general ought to have contracts between artists and the promoter, and just shows in general. And if I'm a promoter and I contract you to be at my show at X time, for me there's no grand entries. And I looked at this thing where the limo was supposed to pick artists up at 6 o'clock, and at 5:45, artists are coming in from the mall to go get ready to be picked up. And because of all the swag and how them have a palav, they're not gonna be ready in 15 minutes. And it's not just one or two. It's a group of artists. So for them to make my red carpet at 6 o'clock, that's not going to happen. And so where discipline is concerned, our reggae artists need to get to the point where they learn to respect other people's time, learn to respect and properly honor contracts. Because if promoters were going to stand their ground and say, you know what, you need to abide by the guidelines that I have in this contract, you signed this. So I guess until it starts affecting pockets, then changes will not be made.
Right. I absolutely agree with you that promoters at all times they should have contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is, we know already a lot of artists operate, and it's not only reggae and dancehall, it's other genres. I have friends that work with multi-platinum artists and other things. And what happens is a lot of artists, when they're not that popular or hot or have a buzz, they will volunteer. You might be doing a show, Anmour, and you'll get a call.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, Anmour, I hear you're doing a show. Can you please put me on it?
Mm-hmm.
Then now, because you sometimes you probably didn't even think of them when you're doing your show. You adjust your show to accommodate them.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going by a word of mouth at the time when the artist might have said that to you, because we have a tendency sometimes to not want to deal with the artist representative, because we think, okay, if I go direct source to the artist, I'm going to get a cheaper price and I'll cut out the middleman. We have that within our community, and it's not only on music, it's just within our black community. We like to cut people out.
Yeah.
And it trickles down in every aspect of the business.
Yeah,
so half the time you'll find a promoter or a business person is talking to an artist who probably slept the entire day.
Mm-hmm.
Or they probably left the studio at 6 in the morning and they can't remember anything that you said. All they remember is, well, they got a call. They remember, after the studio now, who knows, some were probably drinking, doing whatever they're doing. They can't remember to put on the calendar that I'm supposed to be at this award show or this event at 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
They just remember they had a conversation with you and that's just it. Now, if you have a contract, now what's going to happen if the artist, let's say, for example, can't read the contract? Chances are they're going to have to get someone to read the contract. And that person now is going to remind them, hey, contract says you have to be here at 5, so you know what this means. You can't go anywhere between such and such a time. You might have a responsible person on the road with them that might remind them or wake them up or keep track of time. You can't really expect an artist or the man, we know 95% of artists, they don't monitor time. They're not time management people. That's why they need to appoint business people.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to take responsibilities on all levels, from promoters doing events to the people who decide to bypass professional management and take responsibility. Artists will only do what we allow them to do, because if we don't pay them and we don't listen to them, they don't have a fan base. So a lot of the times we say, okay, we blame the artists, and there's still reputable people in the business for years that will still, if they will bypass a reputable person like me or you and try to go directly to the artist, and then when the artist misses their event or radio show or TV show, then they get mad.
Patrice,
you know that
we're gonna need several other shows for this conversation, because I haven't even started to ask you questions yet.
Okay. Well, I'm always willing to come back, and I hope the next time I'll be able to come sit in the studio with you.
Okay.
And definitely chat more. But it's I know people always say it's like an onion, this business, and you peel one layer, and it just goes.
Yeah, because you're talking, and I'm thinking about other things and going off into different tangents. But before you go, I need for you to touch on something here. We've been talking a lot about publishing, and can you just tell us what exactly is music publishing?
Okay, music publishing is basically it's like the artist pension, and there's 3 key areas where artists earn revenue. You have the performance royalties when the songs are actually performed, whether it's through venues, radio or TV.
Mm-hmm.
You have the mechanical royalties, which is when the physical product is sold, whether it's a CD, a vinyl, or ringtone.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have digital royalties, since the internet has basically took over, and there's a lot of on-demand streaming sites. Mechanical royalties are generally handled by the Harry Fox Agency in New York.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing it for years. They basically issue the licenses and they determine the statutory rate, which right now is 9.1 cents. So if you notice other genres, you might hear the hip-hop artists or R&B artists, they celebrate when they go platinum,
mm-hmm.
or when they sell gold, 500,000 units,
mm-hmm.
because that equates to more revenue from mechanical.
Okay.
The digital royalties now is when the songs are played on on-demand streaming sites such as Pandora, Spotify, Live 365, and there's a whole list of them. And the artist gets paid the statutory rate again. So you have basically, like I covered, you have 3 key areas. Performance royalties are collected by or administered by ASCAP, BMI, or the local performance rights society within the artist's country, wherever they reside. But those are the 2 major ones in the U.S., ASCAP and BMI. Then mechanicals, like I mentioned, is handled by the Harry Fox Agency. Digital royalties is handled by Sound Exchange, which is a U.S. government-approved nonprofit organization. So when you have your publisher like me now, I would basically make sure that each organization has the correct songs, every song that you've done. Make sure the splits are basically the percentage from everyone that performed on the track, whether it's the drummer, the bass, the guitarist, the producer, the label, background vocals. I would make sure that the artist accounts for their percentages, and then what happens is performance rights societies will generally issue the statements to me, my company, on behalf of the artist, as well as the payment.
Mm-hmm.
So traditionally, all the other genres around the world, they've been able to capitalize off of two additional income that reggae is slowly but reggae and dancehall hasn't been able to really take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why is because we have a dub plate culture where as soon as a song generates some buzz,
mm-hmm.
all the dub, all the sound systems around the world ask for the dub. And then what happens is the dub, while it helps to put food in a lot of artists' pocket, it also devalues the actual product or the song, so it doesn't get a chance to really sell.
Okay.
So you'll hardly hear of a regular dancehall artist going platinum because we have a culture that it does good and bad. There's a lot of people that benefit from it, so I wouldn't knock it completely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just showing you the dynamics of that. Mechanicals now, once again, like I said, because the artist is not able to really sell, we don't really get that percentage. The digital royalties, a lot of artists they're probably not even aware of Sound Exchange because the artist can only do so much. It's hard to keep up with the new trends and new organizations that emerge.
Mm-hmm.
So what you'll find is Sound Exchange has spent the last few years reaching out through social media, print, magazines, radio, encouraging artists to register. A lot of our artists aren't able to register because some of them don't have TRNs. For example, Jamaican artists, they don't have a lot of TRNs, which is tax registration number.
Mm-hmm.
In order for U.S. organizations to make a payment to an individual, you have to have a tax ID or you have to have a social security number. So Sound Exchange, ASCAP, BMI, they will not issue checks to people to people that don't meet the criteria. So oftentimes you'll find artists are sitting there and they're wondering how come they can't collect. Now, if you think back, Anmour, if you didn't appoint a music publisher to register your songs, you're basically non-existent to the organizations that are actually monitoring the songs as well as issuing the checks.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of artists that sit in Jamaica and say, okay, I did 300 songs, I'm not seeing any money. When you actually check the database, because I'm a member of ASCAP, BMI, and the Harry Fox Agency, so I have access to their database. When I've done research for clients in the past, maybe 60 to 70% of their songs are never registered, so it's considered non-existent. So it is key for artists to stop saying, I can't afford these people, and figure out ways, renegotiate, and try to get people in. The more you do it right, if you do it right the first time, it's easier to recoup and collect. But if you spend 15 to 20 years in the business and you're just trying to register songs that may have been released in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you've missed about 3 decades. And what happens is after 3 years, the Performance Rights Society, they send that money to unclaimed funds. It goes to the local state, the last address or the local state, where whatever the artist had used at the time for their business address or permanent residence, it goes to the state. So, for example, if you're in New York and you use a New York address, after 3 years, your money's unclaimed, it goes to the state of New York. So when artists are walking around and saying producers have money for them, no, the Performance Rights Society, based on how the song is registered, you have 50% for the writer and you have 50% for the composer / producer. If you don't register, the composer responsibility is only to register and account for their percentage. However, you do have unscrupulous composers and producers throughout the years who basically filled in the slot that said, artist / writer and producer. They do exist. But if you're not interested in actually learning the business and making sure